Today is Quit Facebook Day. I've tried and failed many times, with members of the social network website being urged to ditch the site over concerns about online privacy. The Circle took to the streets to find out whether you have any worries about your Facebook privacy.
Well, there's privacy settings, so you can just hide whatever you don't want people to see.
I just realised right now that my sister tagged a photo of me that is really ugly.
I always change my privacy settings, and I just noticed the last couple of days that they changed the settings, and a lot of my stuff was available publicly, which I really wasn't happy about.
So I've noticed lately on Facebook that a lot of the ads seem to be tailored for myself, and I don't know how that is worked out.
There was a time not long ago when they had the privacy settings that they just got rid of, and everybody could look at each other's profile. I think they have to let people know about that. They can't just do what they want.
I think you can control the privacy settings, so I'm informed enough to do that.
I think the larger privacy problems come from people not being aware of the settings, not setting them correctly, and also being very kind of cavalier about what they post online.
If I thought it was invading people's privacy, I'd probably deregister, but I admit I'm a Facebook freak, and so I'm on it. But look, I suppose it's for people to use some common sense. Everything that you write on it is recorded forever, and that's pretty scary, I suppose, come to think of it.
To discuss the whole issue of control over who gets to see what about you, please welcome online campaigner Colin Jacobs to the Circle. Hi, Colin.
Hi, how's it going?
So, given that it's Quit Facebook Day, what are some of the concerns that people have about their security? Why has this sort of movement happened?
Well, Facebook, they don't have a very good track record when it comes to privacy. They're often pushing people to make more and more information public, and they're not very open about it. They kind of sort of sneak it in under the radar because that helps them sell ads. And, you know, they're a business after all. It's not like the phone where it's a public utility. So they made some changes in recent times. They made it so that, you know, when you type in your thoughts and what you're doing into the status updates, they made it so by default everyone could see that. Some things like your gender, your home city, things like that were made public so that everyone in the world could see that. And, you know, when you type in your likes and dislikes, your hobbies, things like that, they turned those into something called connections, and they made it so that everyone in the world can see that as well without you... Otherwise, you had to delete them all. So, bit of a trend to making more and more information out there, and probably contrary to what people expect when they use Facebook.
I haven't had time to go in and change my privacy settings after all this sort of happened, but somebody told me that they can see all my photos. Now, I set it all to private. Can they do that? Just make your photos visible?
Well, I mean, it depends. One of the problems is the privacy settings are really complicated. There's like 30 or 40 different options. Everyone can see this, friends of friends. So people make mistakes all the time. And of course, if your friends share a photo of you and they put your name, you know, they tag it, then that'll show up and you don't have any control over that at all. So that's one of the issues. So one of the things they are looking at doing now is making the privacy settings a bit more intuitive, a bit simpler, have a default where you can just say, look, I just want my friends to see everything, and that sort of should mitigate some of the issues, but it's not perfect.
So if people are concerned about their privacy settings, what can they do to make sure they've got maximum security on their account?
Well, we need to wait until the new changes that they're putting in come into effect. But after that, I mean, I think as long as you're aware that there are privacy issues, and when you're typing something in, you're thinking, you know, who's going to end up seeing this, then, you know, you're actually a step ahead, because most people, they just go with the flow, go with the default settings. So you have to find the settings and actually make a conscious decision that, look, only friends of friends, because Facebook, the defaults will be, you know, be more generous. And you have to think, if I don't want everyone in the world to see this, I'd better be careful, or maybe I should have a cup of coffee and come back and rephrase it in a little bit, you know.
Let's talk about Quit Facebook Day. Is this designed for people to get their lives back and quit Facebook for good, or is it more about sending a message to the head honchos at Facebook?
Yeah, I don't think it's about living a healthy lifestyle. I think it's a protest measure, and it's probably going to be like a few thousand, a few tens of thousands people might quit. But when you put things in perspective, if Facebook was a country, it would have a population about 20 times Australia's. So a few thousand people won't make a difference. But people are definitely watching what Facebook do. They're a bit upset about this privacy, so they're going to have to be careful what they do in future.
I did try and quit Facebook once, and let me tell you, if you're going to give it a go today...
It was a process, wasn't it?
Stick with it, because they're so manipulative. You get to the end of the process and it says, oh no, your friend Joe will miss you. And they show you photos of your friends, usually holding your baby. And you're like...
It's very clever the way they do it.
Right, and they make it easy to disable your profile, but to delete all the information actually is quite a process. And so...
Because we've had, Colin, a bit of negative press in the past, a few months about Facebook, but of course there are enormous benefits. I have friends who are on farms, rural communities, who their only way of connecting is Facebook. But I'd love to get your opinion about, do you think some people realise that if there were hackers, you're still ultimately putting your information into a global medium that anyone can access, really? Is it that people aren't really aware of the realities of something like Facebook?
People, I think they don't think enough before they put things... And it's not just Facebook. People have accounts on all sorts of websites. And if you do a Google search and put them all together, you can get a pretty good, picture of what a person's interests are and what their life is like. So if you don't want it to be out there for the world to see, then you have to, be really careful. And unfortunately, that's quite the contrary. Most people want to share with their friends. So
that's right.
It's a dilemma.
Thanks for coming and seeing us today, Colin, talking all about Facebook, which I love.
You're welcome.
I love it, love it, love it. Now, she travelled to the UK to realise her dream and is now encouraging others to do exactly the same. Next on The Circle, we meet hip-hop artist, writer and comedian Can